Dennis Allen should be gone. I don't know if you should do it mid-season, near the end of the season, or after the season, but I don't want to see him next season.
Jayden Daniels is the rookie of the year, without question, right now. I said it at the beginning of the season.
That look like a Marvel character. That don't even look like him.
It looked like Thanos, bro.
Yeah, like
Jerry Jones is one of the most tone deaf owners probably of all time. For him, it's not about the wins and losses or the Super Bowls as much as he wants to make it seem like it. It's about lining his pockets. You couldn't run the football. That falls at the heels, literally, of the offensive line.
Hold up, before you get to watching this video, let me talk to you for a second. Hit that bell down below and subscribe to the Fitz Take Podcast YouTube channel so you'll know when every episode is dropping or if something has been posted on this page. Also, be sure to follow me and Elijah on our social media platforms. They will be linked down in the description. Now back to the episode.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into another episode of the Fitz Take Podcast. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick, but you know you can always call me Fitz. He's your guy, Elijah Nixon, a.k.a. E-Money, a.k.a. the pride of Connecticut, the pride of South Carolina, and right here in Lafayette as well, guys. Thank y'all so much for subscribing. If you are a subscriber on YouTube, we've reached 159 subs as of recording this episode at 6:50 p.m. on Sunday night. If you're not a subscriber and this is your first time watching, I'm encouraging you. I'm asking, almost begging. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. Hit that bell. Also, like this video as well. Also, subscribe to our podcast feed over on Spotify. We are now there on Spotify. So if you're not a watcher, you can listen to it. I saw that we had a couple people that actually subscribe to it as of recently. So go ahead and continue to do that. It's linked down in the description. Follow me and Elijah on our social medias. That's linked in the description. And also follow my production company. That's linked down in the description as well. Elijah, it was a crazy weekend in all of football and sports world. We had some basketball to start up last week. We had our first stream-a-thon almost. We were on for 4 hours, man. Just what did you take in from this past week?
man, it was a lot, but that's what the sports world is. It was pretty cool, man. I know last night, we was on for what 4.5, almost 5 hours.
Yep.
If y'all didn't think that my house is cold, look what I got next to me today. I'm not playing with y'all. I ain't have to get up and go get it today, just in case if it goes. But it was a fun weekend. Despite the LSU loss, the Saints losing, it was still a great weekend. Just to be a spectator and watching it from the comfortability of my own home.
Absolutely, man. So with that, we're going to go ahead and hop into our first play, take number one, where we're talking about LSU. The Tigers lose their second game of the regular season, falling to Texas A&M 38-23, in which the Tigers were held to just 6 points in the second half. Texas A&M outscored them. What is this? 14 plus 17. My quick math, my brain not working. I think that's 31. Yeah. Texas A&M outscored LSU 31-6 there in the second half. In a loss where, Mike Elko, the head coach of the Aggies, decided to make a quarterback change and take out Connor Wegman and put in Marcel Reed. And that was pretty much the X factor of why the Tigers weren't able to get anything going and why they were not able to stop the Texas A&M offense. Elijah, the question we pose today is, who gets the most blame in this loss? Is it the defense? Is it Brian Kelly? Is it special teams with the 3 field goals they didn't get? Who gets the most blame out of this loss?
I think the most rarest blame that I'm going to give, and I usually don't blame it, but the offensive play caller. Special teams, don't get me wrong, all 3 of those guys messed up, but the offensive play caller could have been a little bit more creative. The run game struggled. Durham struggled, but I think that like in today's game, you use the receiver a little bit more, more than just in pass games. And like we talked about last night on the stream or Saturday night on the stream, those guys, you could move them in jet motions when they blitz those gaps and take away those gaps. I mean, they just kept doing the same thing over and over and over, and that's what I think what LSU failed at, because I think that they have the speed on the outside, the perimeters. They have the running back, and the offensive line is good enough, and Garrett Nussmeier is good enough as well. But sometimes it's going to come down to coaching, man, and that's what I think it was. And Joe Sloan is not a bad offensive coordinator at all. He is a very, very good, very creative guy when it comes to that. But I think he should have helped himself just a little bit more than using some receiver reversers or anything to open up his offense, because the defense played lights out until the second half. Uh, but like I said, you want to keep that defense off the field, and you don't want this game to be longer than what it should have been, and that's what it was for LSU, especially with Reed only completing 2 passes for 70 yards. I mean, that's disrespectful in the college world, because you completed 2 passes for 70 yards and you won a game against a top 10 team in the nation. So, again, man, I just think it was on Joe Sloan making this game a little longer than what it needed to be.
Yeah, I agree with you to some extent. I feel like he could have gotten a little bit more creative. Obviously you have the scheme that you have, and you have the plays that you have, you have the players that you have, so you have to work with what you can. CJ Daniels went out and was back in a walking boot. Chris Hilton was not as effective because this was his first game playing of the season. So you're essentially getting a week 1 receiver. So you basically had Mason Taylor, Kyron Lacey, and Aaron Anderson out there catching passes for you. But for me, I saw people say that this falls on Nuss. It's very easy to pile on the quarterback because they're the quarterback. He threw 3 interceptions. He does deserve some blame. I saw some people piling on Blake Baker for, not game planning for Marcel Reed at all, because Greg Penn had a quote that I saw on Twitter of them saying like they were surprised by having Marcel Reed in the game plan. I don't think that much of the blame needs to go in that direction, because you don't prepare for the backup quarterback. You just don't. You prepare for the starter. If Connor Wegman was the guy that was starting, you prepare for him. Obviously at the end of the game, Brian Kelly said that, if I'm any team right now, I'm running with the quarterback because we can't stop it right now. But I feel like the brunt of the blame has to fall on the shoulders of the offensive line. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a trenches guy, but when you look at the fact that you couldn't run the football, that falls at the heels literally of the offensive line. When you're only averaging, I think it was 1 yard a carry, if I'm not mistaken, right at 1 yard a carry. They had 23 carries for 24 yards. Um, when you're giving that up, when you're not able to run the football effectively, when you're forcing your quarterback to have to throw the football 50 times because you have the inability to run the football, that starts up front. A lot of people will point to the fact and say like, yeah, Brian Kelly is the head man, so he gets all the blame, which is true. But in this particular topic, what I'm saying is, where does most of the blame go to? I believe that it falls on the offensive line. And these are guys that you have 2 first-round offensive tackles. You have DJ Chester there in the middle, Garrett Dellinger, who hobbled in and out, and I think Prince Mubanga had to go in and relieve him at one point. So this is a great offensive line. They had a bad night. So by no stretch am I saying that this is going to be a continuous situation. I feel like this is an outlier. I feel like this is something that they can be able to clean up and get better at. But I know Brad Davis was not happy with him in that film room Sunday for sure. And I know that they're going to be challenged when they head into practice all week long. They're going to be saying, we couldn't run the football. We had to make Garrett throw the ball 50 times because we couldn't get it done. I've been there, done that. I understand those conversations. Those are the talks that they're having right now. Are they saying that we're going to give up on you guys and we're going to stop running the ball? No, because they know they can run the football because they've done it in the past. What they are going to say is, we have to be able to run the football better because of the way you guys open holes and create creases and seams for us to be able to run it. I think going into the game, they had like a 1.5 sack to pressure ratio, I think it was, that they showed in a graphic during the broadcast. And I want to say that Garrett was sacked 3 times in this one. Let me see. He threw 3 picks for sure. I can't really find it right there. I know at least 2 or 3 for sure. So it's not that this offensive line is bad. It's not that at all. But they had a bad game, and as a result of it, because you couldn't run the football, because you couldn't cut the game in half, your quarterback had to throw it more times than what he would have liked. And when you throw it that many times, you're bound to make mistakes. And it just is what it is. Um, do you feel like now that they have this bye week off, that this will be an opportunity for them to figure out those few areas that they need to clean up on the offensive side, where there's, getting more creative in the play calling or challenging the offensive line? Do you feel like this bye week comes at the perfect time for them?
No, I think the perfect bye week was before they played on Miss. I mean, now it's like you just hoping and wishing on the start. I don't want to say it's too late. I don't want to say it's too late, but right now it's like if the things don't shape your way, if you can't get into the playoff because of stuff, then yeah, it's too late. Because right now you have two losses, and you know those two losses can blemish you for the rest of the year. So I just think that LSU. I think LSU just right now, yeah, fix what you need to fix just in case, but it's tough, man, because honestly, you dropped to 16, drop out of the top 15. You got a tough Alabama team coming in 2 weeks. Um, if you beat them, to me, it doesn't really say much because they lost to Georgia and Tennessee. Not Georgia, I'm sorry, yeah, they lost to, excuse me, it was a Vanderbilt in Tennessee. And if you beat them, it just says that you have a better shot of making it in the college football playoff than Alabama. That's all it says. Because you have a lot of teams that still have one losses, and that's more valuable than what you have that you put on tape so far. So again, if just for the future references for Joe, I hope that they change it because next year is still next year. But I just think it's a little too late, man. I just think it's a little too late right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. We'll see what LSU can get done. After their bye week, they will face off with Alabama on November the 9th. There is currently doesn't have a start time. It's a flex in between the 3:30 slot or the 6 or the 8 p.m. slot. So it could be a nighttime game. It could be a midday game. It just all depends. I do believe that game will be on ABC, so it'll be on KTC. Y'all watch us once again for that big matchup. And like Elijah said, this is more than likely going to be an elimination game, as LSU is ranked number 16 and Alabama is ranked 14th in the country. Both teams sit at 6-2 on the season, so we will be keeping our eyes on that ball game. With that, let's make some forward progress and go on to take number 2, and let's talk some Saints. We won't talk much because wasn't much to talk about, to be brutally honest with you, as the New Orleans Saints lose to the Los Angeles Chargers 26-8. Initially, as I was watching this ball game, I thought I was looking at a baseball game because the score was like 2-9 or something like that at one point. To be even more brutally honest, I set a timer for myself to take a quick nap, Sunday nap at halftime. I woke up and saw that they still wasn't doing nothing. I went back to sleep. Um, so the Saints now fall to 2-6 after starting the year 2-0. They've lost 6 straight, very frustrating games down the stretch, and this one just adds to the pile. So, Elijah, for you, what is the next step for the New Orleans Saints at this point in the year?
Shoot, I don't even know, man. I mean, you don't even know at this point. You drop 6 in a row. Your starting quarterback's out. The rookie quarterback that you have for the future, he doesn't look good. Uh, at this point, you signed Kamara for no reason. Because I mean, what did you just want to say? Hey, man, what it is that you want to stay for? You just want some money? Because that's what you just did. You say, hey, here's a couple of dollars for you to stay. Because it's not like you're using him in the most effective way because you're not getting anything. He still can play, but you're not getting the production that you need out of him to win ball games because of the team that's around him. Defensively doesn't look good. Offensively doesn't look good. Special teams that don't even look good. I mean, I'll be honest with you. So I mean, tanking is an option, but I'm not going to go that far because I don't believe in just losing on purpose. But I do believe one thing should happen, and I hope it's a guarantee. Dennis Allen should be gone. I don't know if you should do it mid-season, near the end of the season, or after the season. but I don't want to see him next season. You don't want that man at the helm of this football team anymore. You gave him 3 years, and those 3 years of horrible, of bad football. 3 years of bad football. So, again, maybe some guys are better as coordinators. Hopefully, you get another shot of being a coordinator. But I mean, they need to start putting a chopping block on them and seeing what they can get for next year. And I think that's the only thing that I can say that can go positive for the Saints is getting rid of Dennis Allen because right now, dude, there's nothing good in New Orleans but the Super Bowl coming here in 2025. That's it.
And the Saints will likely not be there, which is something very frustrating because after that second game against the Cowboys, I mean everything looked extremely promising. Everybody, of course, said week one it's just the Panthers, don't sweat it. Now in hindsight, looking at that Cowboys victory, it was like, was that really important? It was kind of just two bad teams going at it, and the better bad team won out that day. But at the time, you're looking at Dallas as a potential deep playoff run, even Super Bowl contender at that time in the season. So to come out of that game to be at 2-0, you felt really good. But now, the wheels are kind of just all the way off. With Spencer Rattler being in the lineup, which he was eventually pulled, I believe, somewhere at the back half of the third quarter or start of the fourth, and replaced for Jake Hayner. The offense was just very, very vanilla. And at some point, very similar to LSU, when you couldn't get the run game really rolling, it wasn't much you could do in the pass game because you can't expand your playbook. And, I saw somebody tweet something and they were like, I can't believe people thought that this kid really could replace Derek Carr. And it's like, people don't understand how hard it is to really like grasp an entire concept of an NFL team, the playbook and all of that. I've never been on an NFL team, but the amount of content that I consume and watching and seeing what these guys have to put in, I can only imagine what it's like trying to understand the terminology, regurgitate this stuff, and make sure 10 other guys know what they're doing. You going out and trying to make the right reads. Oh, yeah, and you got a 300-pounder that runs a 4.4 breathing down your neck every single play. I can only imagine what's that like, that could be like for a rookie quarterback coming in after the starter goes down and you're going to be in for the foreseeable future. It's a lot of pressure. And I'm not saying that by no means am I making excuses for Spencer Rattler, but I didn't expect him to come in and necessarily be the savior of the franchise because your playbook with Derek Carr in might be 150 plays. With Spencer Rattler, you might go down to 70, a little bit less than that maybe. Your playbook gets a little bit more vanilla, and you could tell. And the Chargers could tell, and that's why they were able to stifle the offense so much. The defense started out decently strong. Obviously, the team getting that safety after the muff punt and the ball went out of the back of the end zone. So you felt pretty good at the start. But in terms of what's next for the Saints, I think you just need to finish this season as healthy as possible. You keep playing because that's what you get paid to do, and let the chips fall where they may. Because you got 6 losses, and in the NFC right now, you got the Commanders, which we'll get into that in a second. You got the Eagles. You have the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers. You got Atlanta, and you've got Arizona. So those are 6 spots, and I think it's 7 playoff spots if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So the best you can do is get a wild card in, and it's a ton of teams right now that are like 4-4, 3-4, right there on the cusp of being on the outside. And then there's you at the bottom. The only other teams that have 2 victories are yourself and the Giants. And then after that, it's Carolina with 1 win. So I'm not saying to tank. I'm saying to go out there, compete, have a sense of pride, finish the season as strong as possible. And then once this year is over, you get back to the drawing board and you figure out what it takes to get things fixed. Unfortunately, Dennis Allen will probably take a lot of the heat, but I think that there are a lot more things that are wrong with the Saints from an organizational standpoint. Guys consistently can't stay healthy. something needs to be said about that. Why is it that you start a season and then by the middle of it, you got 6, 7 guys out of the lineup and they stay gone either for the full season? Like, why is it that Marshawn Lattimore is in and out of the lineup with a hamstring injury? Like, at one point in the game, he went out and didn't come back. How is it that that's an issue? That's not necessarily on Dennis Allen, but he's going to take the blame for it because it's a byproduct of the wins and losses. Because you're not at full scope, because you're not at full capacity, you're going to lose games. I feel like this is just as much of an organizational thing. I think Ms. Gail Benson might need to take a good look in the mirror, figure things out with Mickey Loomis, figure things out with Dennis Allen, and just get a fresh start and see what happens in the future. Because this team had way too much potential coming into this year to be at this point where they're at now. I know the players are extremely frustrated because they're a part of this every single day. They hear all the noise. As much as they might block it out, they hear it. They're a part of it. So they're just as frustrated as any fan out there. And for fans out there that are like, oh, these guys don't really care. Man, look, these guys bleed, they sweat, they train, they put in a lot of work to try to put out a decent product out there. So by no stretch do I think that they're just out there saying, "Oh, we gonna wing it and see what happens." I don't think that's what's happening in that organization. But unfortunately, things are not coming together for them. But I do think they have an opportunity to get back on the win track because next week they will face off with the Carolina Panthers. It'll be a 12 o'clock kick on CBS. Their schedule from there is as follows: Panthers, Falcons, Browns, Rams, Giants, Commanders, Packers, Raiders, and Buccaneers. So it'll be interesting to see how these last 9 games shape up as the Saints fall in their 6th straight game to the Los Angeles Chargers 26-8, moving them to 2-6 on the year. Now, let's move on to take number 3, ladies and gentlemen. What's up?
Yo, speaking of checking stuff out, did you see Anthony Richardson check himself out of the game earlier?
I did. I did. Hey, listen. I have been there. I need a breath. I can't catch my breath. My God, I've been there. I have been there. I understand. I know people are trolling him saying he's the look. He really did what was good for the team. Because if he wouldn't have been able to get things figured out, or if he'd have messed up on that play he was tired on, then you'd have been like, "Oh, you're such a loser!" Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too, man. Like, yes, I saw that. I saw that. He probably shouldn't have said it that bluntly. That's gonna come with a little bit more seasoning as he goes throughout the league. But yeah, that was pretty wild.
Because you said when you was talking about Marshawn Lattimore when he checked out for injury, I know that's not his fault. And, he has a hamstring. But I want to ask you, did you see that Anthony Richardson? That just came to my mind when you said that.
Oh boy. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Moving forward to take number 3, we'll spend some time here as we're gonna fly out and talk about the game that, again, as we're recording this at 7:12, just ended not too long ago, as the Washington Commanders put up a play that was absolutely amazing to win against the Chicago Bears 18-15 and move to 6-2 on the season. Jayden Daniels throws a Hail Mary for the ages to Noah Brown to allow them to win that ball game in the closing seconds. There was some controversial calls there leading up to that. Obviously, the Bears go with a very 85 Bears-esque play call, trying to go to an offensive lineman, their backup center, and it results in a fumble. The Commanders get the ball back, but then they go down and they score and get on the board to go ahead. And then Jayden slings that thing down the field and makes a play. Elijah, where were you at? How did it all unfold in front of you, and what was your reaction to it?
It was I was right here. I was right in the house, and I was sitting there just watching it. I thought game was over. Caleb Williams, he had an impressive fourth quarter was the best part. The
Yeah.
first 2 quarters was horrible, but the fourth quarter, Caleb Williams I thought had a nice drive before DJ Moore goes down and hurts whatever he hurt. I think it was his shoulder. They hand the ball off to the lineman, and that was a fumble, and Washington recovers. But then Caleb Williams shows up again and has another a great drive, gets him down. Now I'm thinking like, okay, this game is over. These 2 rookies. It's not like I'm not saying Jayden Daniels is I don't say arm talent like Aaron Rodgers or anything, but I'm just thinking it's about to be a rookie thing. He might make a rookie mistake because it was making them all game. When I seen the ball going in the air, and I saw it tip up, and I saw that receiver in the background, I ain't gonna lie, I yelled, "He caught it! He caught it!" Like I was calling the game because I was like, bro, this was one of the most wildest endings I've ever seen. Like, it's like, I thought it was over. I thought it was flat out over. And then Jayden, what the thing that give me is, I know Jayden Daniels was like calm and everything, but at the end of the day, man, I know the storyline was the pick number 1 versus pick number 2. That's your storyline, but for the end like that with Jayden Daniels throwing a Hail Mary and it goes in, that's just telling me that maybe this could be a rivalry for the future. The way how it was played, I think this could be a rivalry, maybe like how we used to see with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. So maybe this could be a rivalry for the future for both teams and both quarterbacks. Hopefully they stay with their respective franchises for the entire long haul, so this can keep rescheduling. But again, man, that was a heck of a finish, man, and Washington should have stormed the field. If this was college, hey, think about that real quick. You think if the Commanders could have, you think they would? I would have stormed the field, bro. What's the point? What's the? Nah, you can't do it. But hey, look,
I don't think I've ever seen an NFL game where they storm the field. That would be absolutely crazy.
But would this have been appropriate?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. That was wild. I mean, they probably would have been in so much shock. It'd have been very similar to LSU Ole Miss, but it was warranted for sure. I mean, wow, for real. Like I was standing here in the living room, setting up, getting ready to tape the show here, and I saw it go up, and my neighbor across the way, I heard him react first, but I thought he was reacting like, "Oh man, he almost had it." But then I saw it, and I was like, "Oh!" And so it was like he was like, "Ah!" And I was like, "Oh!" And so I woke Jasmine up. She was like, "Is everything okay?" I was like, "My fault. It was kind of fire. That was a fire little play." I think with that, like, not to overhype anything about a 50-50 chance play, but Jayden Daniels is the rookie of the year without question right now. I said it at the beginning of the season when Malik Neighbors and Jayden Daniels faced off against each other. I said the winner of the rookie of the year, the offensive rookie of the year, will come down to those 2 guys. And I said whoever either led their team to a division championship or a better record would be the victors. Currently, the Commanders are leading the NFC East with a 6-2 record, and Jayden Daniels is playing absolutely lights out right now. The 2 losses that this team has is against the Baltimore Ravens, which is one of the best teams in football, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which in my opinion could be the winners of the NFC South or a wild card team. So their 2 losses are to two really good teams. So they're winning the games they're supposed to, and they're playing close in the games and the other ones that they've lost. What a phenomenal play by Jayden Daniels. That's all I can say. To even have the arm strength to get the ball down there in that position, he had to kind of scramble around a little bit to try to get himself in position to plant pretty good and throw it as far as he could. So shout out to Jayden, man, the future offensive rookie of the year. You're hearing it first here on the Fitz Take podcast. Jayden Daniels is going to win the offensive rookie of the year. So when it happens, I'm clipping this and I'm posting it. Y'all just remember that. Y'all remember that. Staying along with the football world, but switching over to college, the Colorado Buffaloes are bowl eligible for the first time since 2016 after picking up a victory against Cincinnati in the wee hours, late in the midnight hour. God trying to turn it around for that program. beating Cincinnati and becoming bowl eligible in the process, and a win for them in year two in the Deion Sanders Coach Prime era, as they are now 6-2 and move into the top 25, ranked as I believe number 23, if I'm not mistaken. They beat Cincinnati 34-23. Um, let's see where they ranked. Yes, they're ranked number 23 in the country right now, and they no longer have any ranked teams that they will face the rest of this season. Um, Elijah, do you believe um, that Colorado will stay in the top 25? And if they do, does this team make the playoffs?
No, I think they stay in the top 25 because of how they will finish out the year playing teams that's not to me that's not up to par. But that doesn't mean that Colorado's not talented. Let's take that away. I don't think that doesn't mean Colorado's not talented. But do I think they get a chance or a crack at the college football playoff? I don't think so. Only for the simple factor of strength of schedule. These with SEC they play in and out of ranked opponents. With Big Ten, they play in and out of ranked opponents. Big 12, you're like maybe like if Colorado went undefeated, then this will be a different conversation. But those two losses, when that hurts them. It's gonna be a shame because I don't think they make the college football playoff. But I would love to see Shador versus and Travis Hunter versus the top tier talent. The Georgias, the Bamas. Oh, I don't think Bama's making it. I'm sorry. The Georgias, the Texas, and things in that nature because I think these are like valuable NFL prospects that we can see on the next level making plays. So with that being said, it's going to be kind of sad that they don't make it, but I can understand if the committee don't put them in there because of the strength of schedule. I wish that Deion would have scheduled, if it was possible. I wish Deion would have scheduled some more teams so he can be able to, get to that next level and play at the highest level of college football.
No, for sure. When you look at the Big 12 standings right now, BYU, Iowa State, Kansas State, and then Colorado, that one loss to, hold on, my boy just had his baby girl. I think it is. He just texted us that right now. 'Cause I was looking over at my phone. I'm gonna have to hit him
Oh,
back after I get done with this. Kansas State, that loss there would have put them at 5-0 in conference, and they would have been at the top of the Big 12. Now you're talking about if you play for the Big 12 championship and you win it, now you could possibly squeak in and get in that playoff spot. Do I believe that they will stay in the top 25? Yes. I think the highest that they will probably finish with these games that they have left on the slate, they have Texas Tech, who's 5-3, Utah, who's 4-4, Kansas at 2-6, and Oklahoma State at 3-5. Um, Maybe somewhere in the upper teens where they're at, or in the in the upper 20s or lower teens, maybe like 17, 18. But I think that they will remain right outside the college football playoffs unless they win the Big 12 championship in a great enough fashion that can convince the committee, and then a lot of other chaos happens up top. Um, but shout outs to the Colorado Buffaloes, man, for number one, getting that victory, um, being 4-1 in the Big 12, and becoming bowl eligible. It's a true testament to what Coach Prime is doing with that program. And hopefully, of course, Shador and Travis are going to be going after this year, but hopefully this will set this program up for much more to come in the future. Um, with the success that he's now brought there, the hype that he's brought around this program, and hopefully it brings a lot more earlier kicks because I am tired of trying to stay up to 1 o'clock in the morning to watch Colorado play. I seen a stat somewhere that said that their numbers are down like 46%. It's because, bro, we ain't got time to be staying up to 1 o'clock in the morning to watch Shadur and Travis. We just don't. Put that game at noon, 3 o'clock, call it a day. We ain't got time to be up at 11:30, 12 o'clock watching football. That's no, we can't do that every week. But Colorado moves on to 6-2 on the season and are bowl eligible for the first time since 2016. And as we close out the flyout take, we're now switching over to the NBA, where Dwyane Wade, a legendary player in his own right and Miami Heat legend, had a statue revealed in front of the uh, God, I can't think of the name of the place that they play it, but
But
in
it's
front
still,
of the
are they still
is
at
it the
American
one?
Airlines or is it
No, I think American Airlines is
Dallas?
Dallas. I think that's Dallas. Wherever it's at, his statue is in front of where the Heat play games at, and the statue don't look nothing like him. If you hadn't seen it, go just type in Dwyane Wade and it's gonna come up. When I saw that, I said, I don't know how long they worked on it, but they should have stayed working on it just a little bit longer because that was pitiful. My God, that don't look nothing like that man. Like, come on, bro. Let's do better. What you think about it?
It's horrible. I would have told Pat Riley, don't disrespect me like that. After what I did for you, man, you disrespect me like that. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
disrespectful. I mean, we seen statues. We seen LSU statues with Shaq, and we seen things of that nature. But Dwayne Wade don't even fit anything. That's what he doing, and I don't like it. I think they should have took their time, did a statue, probably later in the year next year. Took their time, remodel it, because he's first of all Dwayne Wade. No offense to Kobe, but he's still alive, and I think he should have had his own say of what he could do. Kobe, they had to find an image, and I think they have Vanessa's input. You know what I'm saying? So they
Probably
should.
so. Let me see. I
It's
don't know if
not.
y'all can see that.
That's not. That don't even. That look like a Marvel character. That don't even look like Dwayne Wade.
It looked like Thanos, bro.
Yeah, like, like that's what I'm
That's
saying.
horrible.
Disrespectful, man, in a sense, and you know, I know that's a problem for Dwayne Wade because a statue being built is a problem for anybody. But at the same time, take your time and design it. There's some good designers out here. It's 2024. We have some good people that can do good work. You just don't rush it like that. So I just feel like if Dwayne, I mean, if you love it, Dwayne Wade, if you like it, I love it. But I think you should rethink this and tell him to do something else. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think he liked it because he looked up there. He was like, "Ha ha, man, this is crazy. Who is that guy?" I was like, the same thing, brother. Who is that guy? You got Thanos Wade up there on the statue. But no, congratulations to him for getting a statue because he is. When you think Miami Heat, there are a select few of guys that you think of, and he is definitely one of them. So hopefully they can get that fixed up for my guy because man, that was uh that was not the best statue that I've ever seen in my entire life. Uh, oh, Shannon Sharp is sitting down with Kamala Harris on Monday. The episode is dropping. It's on. It's on.
You nervous about that
I,
interview, man? You...
well, I look. I don't know what is going. Listen, this is going either take Shannon Sharp into another stratosphere, or people are going to be roasting that man for ages. Got a lot of love for Unc, but boy, if he fumbles this any kind of way with the questions or whatever, people gonna be on him like white on rice. It's gonna be rough. But he finna, I guess, almost break the internet again. He did it at the top of the year and might do it again here at the bottom. Um, so with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap things up with our Fitz take. Um, Last Wednesday, an ESPN article was published in which kind of a breakdown of the Dallas Cowboys and the tours that they have for fans throughout the week, which is something that's very common for NFL teams. They got quotes from former tight end Dalton Schultz, J. Kurz, a former safety there, and then the unknown player talking about what it was like, being in that building where fans would be able to be there at the same time that players would be in the building. They're having meetings and fans are, walking by where the room is and they can look and see them. They're in the cafeteria trying to eat and all this stuff, getting extra treatment and all of that, and fans are walking through there. I think I read in there somewhere that these tours drive in upwards of $10 million a year, which is great for business. But overall, what a lot of the guys were saying in there is that it was a huge distraction. One guy said that it felt like they were in a zoo at times, because I mean, you in there, you trying to look and see what cover two or what this defense is doing, and somebody tapping on the glass talking about, hey, it's Michael Parsons, you know. um, which is crazy. Jerry Jones was quoted in there saying that, no one had come to him about it being an issue at all, which I don't know why they would, because then you would just fire him. And then he said that it wouldn't have done much anyway because they're fighting against the stream, meaning I'm gonna do this anyway. So even if you didn't like it, whatever. Tough, tough noodles is what he said. So Elijah, how much of this do you believe is a distraction for the Cowboys? And, you know, does this add any more pressure on the players because they're a part of this all the time? Obviously, it doesn't correlate to them winning football games at all, but just being around that type of environment, just how crazy is that?
I don't like it for the players. Only for the simple fact you got guys coming in. I get it. Fans want to just tour the stadium, but have times where you can tour the stadium. At the end of the day, I get it. They're players. You want to show Jerry. I want to show my little guys. I want to show them. But at the same time, like it's not but the athletes want to focus on their work and their work only. They have times where they go out in the community to do different stuff. They have times where they have fan autograph type of ordeals. They have times, on Sundays, Mondays, or Thursdays when you go and go watch this team play. You have times for stuff like that. Sometimes they just like their privacy and want to focus on work, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, it's Jerry Jones. Jerry's going to do what he want to do. Jerry's going to do whatever he feels comfortable and whatever makes him money. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad for the Dallas Cowboys. Not the Dallas Cowboys, because whatever they make money, but if it's good or bad for his players, he's going to do whatever he got to do to make money. And that's an owner mentality. And if you hate it, don't go to the Cowboys. And if you love it, go to the Cowboys. I mean, that's my biggest thing about why they can't sign free agents, because at the end of the day, I feel like Jerry does what's best for his pockets and not for the organization. And this is just a simple fact of it all. Just having free tours while they're working and while they're doing stuff. You're
Oh
showing
no,
them
these ain't free. No, no, hold
not
on.
free. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna say now they paying money. They was like saying like 90. One of them, the packages was $90, and you get to have a Q&A with a hologram version of Jerry Jones, which I'm not paying extra money to look at Jerry in hologram form. I'm not paying extra money to see Jerry in regular form. Like that was crazy. But no, they not free. It's not for
Yeah,
free.
I'm sorry. We say that they're not even free, but at the same time, you're just doing this stuff, and it's privacy thing too. Like, some of these players don't even really like all that limelight stuff all the time, and you just bring extra attention to their lives and stuff like that sometimes. I get it, man. You want to show off your organization, you want to show off Jerry's world, but at the same time, you got to realize that these players, you got to make these players comfortable to come to work and do the things they need to do for the Dallas Cowboys. But it's Jerry.
Yeah. To me, Jerry Jones is one of the most tone deaf owners probably of all time. Because, like you said, for him, it's not about the wins and losses or the Super Bowls as much as he wants to make it seem like it. It's about lining his pockets. Because if they won a Super Bowl every year and he was not making money in the millions and billions, he would not care.
Right.
He would not care. He wants the credit, and he wants to be able to say that I have the money and I have the power. I can do what I want to do. This is my world, and you are just living in it. And this is just an example of it. The quote where the players were saying they felt like they were in a zoo. Um, I mean, it's that's tough because they felt like they were always in a position where there was not a level of hiding things. Like you trying to prepare for the Chicago Bears, you're trying to prepare for the Washington Commanders, the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Giants, and you got to worry about little Timmy knocking on the glass while you watching film. And it's not conducive to a winning environment. I've said this before. As long as a lot of that mentality looms within the Dallas Cowboys organization, those things will continue. This team will continue to struggle to try to muster up championship wins, playoff wins, regular wins, because there's just so much pressure around that organization, uh, from up top and all the way around, that it makes it hard for everything else. You're already on the biggest stage of them all, in professional sports in terms of football. and now you gotta be on at all times. Like, me and you talk about this all the time. Like when we're out in public and people recognize us, and you kind of have to be on. You have to be nice and talk to people and communicate with them and have those conversations with them, because if you don't, then they'll walk away and they'll be like, oh, he's mean, or he's angry all the time, or he's not a nice person, and all that stuff like that. So those guys have to be that way while they're in the building, and now they gotta walk around a different way. Like they don't feel comfortable. You don't feel comfortable in your own house, you're in your own facility and you can't do like you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, other NFL teams have these facility tours, but they do it at a time when the players are not there because of this very reason. They don't want any distractions around them while they are trying to prepare. Again, this does not equate to wins and losses, but it's a part of the culture, and the culture we've seen has been broken for a very, 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 very long time. And I don't think this is something that they just started doing. I think this is something they've been doing for a while, and I think they will continue to do it as long as Jerry Jones is at the helm of the Dallas Cowboys. So that's my take on that, ladies and gentlemen. Drop your take on Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys having these facility tours while players are in the buildings. Drop those down in the comments. Like the video as well down below for us on this conversation and topic about the Dallas Cowboys. Anything else we got, E? I think that about wraps it up, huh?
Oh man, we big stream on Tuesday. That's it, man.
Yeah. The Louisiana Raging Cajuns will face off with Texas State out in San Marcos. We will be on stream for the game for the duration of it, and then thereafter. So we have to take a nap beforehand or something. We're gonna have to figure it out to get ready for the ball game. So if you're a Cajuns fan and you're out and about moving, if you're not looking at it on ESPN2, you can come watch it with us and tune in here on YouTube as we will watch the Raging Cajuns play in their next Sun Belt game. I think they'll be attempting to go for 5 in a row, and they already are bowl eligible. So now they will be looking to get win number 7, it is, I think. Yeah, they'll move to 7-1 and be in an even better position to play for a Sun Belt championship. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all so much for watching. If you've made it to this point in the video, please hit the bell down below and subscribe to the Fitz Take Podcast. Also, follow us on Spotify if you are a listener. That will be linked down in the description. Follow me, Elijah, and my production company. That's all linked down in the description as well on all of our different platforms. And we will see you guys on Tuesday for stream, and then another episode loaded up for the following week. So signing out for Elijah Nixon, I am Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. We will see you guys next time.
Thank you so much for watching this clip of the Fitz Take Podcast. Be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also follow me and Elijah on our social media platforms. They will be linked down in the description. And remember, every episode of the Fitz Take Podcast will air right here on the YouTube channel every Monday at 2 p.m. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.